I'm a Muppet. I just wanted to say that. I'm a Muppet, and it's yellow. It's yellow, but it's a kind of weird artifact going around. You can see some nice moons, though. Another yellow one. As you can see, a rough process that I've done on Jupiter, but that's just a very quick rough process that you can do for... That's a very quick rough process for this particular footage. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm reasonably happy, but that's just... Hi everybody, I hope you're well. Bit of planetary imaging this week, and you know what? Planetary imaging is really difficult. So these are some of the efforts of planetary imaging that I've done, and it's really difficult. So let's go and look at, this is Saturn, which I took back in 2019, and it's yellow. It's yellow, but it's actually pretty good, and that's yellow because I hadn't learned to do color balancing on it. So recently I did color balance it, and now it's not yellow, but it's still you know, kind of grainy, and if you go if you zoom in too much, it's got lots of little pixelated bits. It's, you know, not brilliant, to be honest. And then of course Jupiter. Let's have a look at my early Jupiter, another yellow one. As you can see, and it's got some kind of weird artifacts going around. You can see some nice moons though, but I bet if I reprocess this data now I could make that a bit better, but that's from a couple of years ago. This one is interesting. This is Jupiter's shadow. You can see there it's really noisy, it's got some artifacts, but you can see a shadow and you can see some extra moons. And if I just move me from OBS, you can see I've got a nice sort of bit of dodgy stack information there. So I wanted to do a video. Let's move me back down again. I wanted to do a quick video on how you stack all of this in Autostakkert, and I thought, great, I've got an f12 scope now, so it'll be really good and I'll be able to get some great information. No, it's really hard. It's really hard to do planets well. Be under no illusion how difficult it is to do planets well. The moon, on the other hand, is really near, and you can easily create some fairly beautiful shots of the moon using fairly straightforward equipment. There's just a really nice picture of the moon, which I have no idea when I took that, but even looking at that, I like that a lot. It's really good. So yes, let's dive into this video. So I set the scope up, and I took a load of videos and came up with something that looked a bit like a blob, to be honest. But I'll go through the whole process from beginning to end, and I hope you enjoyed. Back on Jupiter tonight, and just coming up to just under 3,000 frames on Jupiter. You can see there. So my goal tonight is to take one of these videos and then go through the end-to-end process using Autostakkert, Registax, and then probably a little bit of tweaking in some kind of photo editor. So I'm just capturing the planets at the moment. So I'm using a sharp camp to capture the images, and I'm capturing 3,000 frames. So we've now got our individual files which we took through the telescope, and these are .ser files that we've got here. I'm using a program called Autostakkert to stack this particular image, so I'm going to just choose one randomly here, which I've got, and I'll just minimize that, and there we go, we've got Jupiter just there. First of all, in Autostakkert we need to select a planet, and then we need to analyze those frames to see how good the quality is of this particular footage here. So it's just doing that at the moment. So we can see here that we've got a graph, and if I was to treat that as a 50% line and just click where the green crosses the graph, I can see that there's 30.1 as the top frame. So I'm going to put in here 31% percent of frames that I want to stack. Now we need to place alignment points upon this image. So you just click place alignment points here, and you can see these are way too big. So we need to make this size of alignment points smaller and then replace them. There we go. Fantastic. So that's now placed a bunch of alignment points onto our image there. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to... Hello, it's Future Andy here. Welcome. I'm a Muppet. I just wanted to say that. I'm a Muppet because I failed miserably to actually tell you what a function does in Autostakkert, which is quite useful and very important. So what I've done is I've gone back into Autostakkert, which you can see here. I've just stacked another one of my SER files, and you can see here that I did 23% this time. And the bit I wanted to show you was this sharpened bit here. When you click this sharpened button here, it creates two files. One is an unsharpened version and the other one is a sharpened version. And if I go into that file there, we've got our normal version, which is this one, and then you've got one that says CONV at the end, which is the sharpened version. So if I click on the unsharpened version, there you go, unsharpened, a bit misty looking, to be honest. And then our sharpened version, which is sharper, but it has more noise. I can see more noise there. So if I was to zoom in a bit, you can see it's a little bit noisier in the image. So I would actually probably use the sharpened version and then do a little bit of noise reduction on it if I was to do this again. I wanted just to give you that little bit of extra information because Autostakkert has this sharpening tool, and I've put it for blend for raw at 0%, and it seemed to work reasonably well. Everything else was the same though. Everything else was the same. So I hope that was useful. Sorry to interrupt. I'll go back to the video now. 31 there, and we're now just going to do 1.5 times drizzle, and then we just click stack, and now Autostakkert will stack those images for us. Autostakkert has now finished that, and if we look in the folder again, underneath at the top here we will see that we've got a folder that says Autostakkert %31. Then it's created that folder, and within there we have our image. So if I just double click on that, that's the processed image that we've got that we're now going to work on. So I'll just close that. I'm just going to minimize Autostakkert. We're now going to go into Registax 6. Now Registax is where we first start the processing. So I'm just going to drag and drop the file here, and we can see that we've got Jupiter there, and it's got a slightly yellow tinge to it. So we're going to go to Rgb balance and click auto balance, which has now aligned the red, green and blue for us. And we'll just close out of that, and you can see there's a blue at the top and a red at the bottom. We're going to use the Rgb Align tool to bring the blue down a bit and across, and the red up a bit and across. So I'll go to blue first. I'm going to bring it down. Let's move it to the left as well. And then for the red, I'm going to bring it up. And I'm going to bring it across. Bring the blue back a bit as well. So you can now see it's got rid of that blue and red tinge that we had at the bottom for the red, and the blue was at the top. So I'm just going to close that. So that's really good. Now we're going to go into wavelets, and you can see here we've got various wavelets on the side, and if you click on each of these, it shows you which parts of the image it's actually going to be affecting. So you can see that there's a red band in the middle. Anything that's red is decreasing, and anything that's green is increasing when the layer is enhanced. So we can look at each of these in turn. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring these sliders up, and we'll see what happens to the image. And I'm also going to just click show the processing area as well, so we know that this is the area we're processing within this square. Now you'll also notice that there's quite a significant increase in noise there, and there's a denoise selection here, and you can just click on this and it will slowly remove the noise but still be bringing out some of the details. It's good, we're beginning to see a bit more of the cloud detail there. That's way too much. It's looking good. And then these last ones are quite severe, as you can see, so I don't want to do too much of these. I think that's looking quite good. I'm not sure, because the seeing wasn't brilliant when I took this footage. I'm not going to do any more to that. I'm quite happy with that for now. So what we're going to do now is click do all, and now it'll go across in steps across the image, and you'll see in a second it will process this square. There we go, it's just processed it, and you can also see the one of Jupiter's moons there as well. So that's great. So I'm now going to save this image. I'm going to save it as a TIFF as well. Okay, so I've got the image there. So I'm now going to come out of Registax and I'm going to go into Affinity Photo. So we're now in Affinity. I'm going to drag and drop the Jupiter process that we had, which is there. First thing I want to do is just crop it a little bit. So I'm just going to the cropping tool, bringing that down, put Jupiter in the middle, and I still want the moon there, and then click return so it's a bit nearer. Now what I'd like to do is just change some of the colour. So I'm going into this particular colour tool, the HSL colour tool, and I just want to adjust the hue just to see if I can bring out a little bit more of that orangey colour. It won't be a huge adjustment. I think that's looking good. Just see if the saturation shift helps. Increase that saturation a bit. Okay, that's good. And now I'm going to go to filters and sharpen and add some clarity. I'm not sure that's making a huge difference, to be honest. It's not too bad. Not too bad, but I have suddenly got a lot more noise in the background here. So I'm going to go into PixInsight with this image now and do some mild noise reduction on this. So I will just export this file as a TIFF. So now I'm going to go into PixInsight. So I have my Jupiter image here. I'd like to apply a little bit of noise reduction to this, so I'm going to go Processes and TGV Denoise, and I'm literally just going to see what the defaults that I've got there look like. It's made it a bit softer, but the noise has improved, so I'm just going to undo that. I'm just going to decrease the strength a little bit and then reapply. Okay, I'm happier with that. That's good. The last thing I'm going to do to this particular image is go to Processes, All Processes, and Curves Transformation. And then I'm going to create a preview by clicking on the circle. There's our preview there. And go to the saturation and just see if there's any more colour that we can get out of this. just to bring out those bands of gases a bit more. Okay, that's good, and then I'll just apply that to my image. Okay, that's it. I'm going to save that off. And this is hopefully going to be our finished image for now of Jupiter. The scene wasn't great. It's not particularly clear, but I've got the nice moon there as well. That's a very quick, rough process for this particular footage that I managed to take of Jupiter. So there we go, everybody. It's a bit blobby, that you can see, but you know what, it's okay. It does go through the process though, and I am going to keep trying until I get good at planetary imaging. So thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you're all staying safe and you're all well, and stay tuned for the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.